Grit's learned a lot, but this is his ultimate test.
Madala is closing in. And Jack has stopped running. His scent is everywhere now, and it's a dead giveaway. It leads the old monarch straight to his hideout. This time, Jack has a better foothold, and after the mating session, a newfound confidence. He might be young, but he's no pushover. This could be the final showdown. But the conflict attracts the attention of a pride of lions. The presence of these apex predators puts an immediate end to this territorial dispute. No leopard stands a chance against a pride of lions. The old male knows this. He only has a few seconds to make his escape. As the more experienced of the two, Madala gets away by the skin of his teeth. Jack, trapped in the tree, makes no sound.
A wart-biter. This fearsome beast was once used to chew off human warts. A field grasshopper awakens his appetite for meat. It tears open the grasshopper's armor. The mantis looks on as the wart-biter devours his prey, alive. But it's not over. Mutilated and dismembered, the victim claws its way out of the jaws of certain death. The mantis moves in, but she's not after the grasshopper. It's Wart-biter versus the praying mantis. The Wart-biter comes out swinging. They seem well matched, heavily armed, bloodthirsty, determined. Suddenly, it's over. The wart-biter abandons the field. As the wart-biter hesitates, the mantis slinks away. The wart-biter was stronger than she had figured. Not worth the risk. What's left of the grasshopper hasn't gotten very far on just 4 legs. The wart-biter is back to finish what he started.
Hippos feed mostly on grass and must leave the safety of water to do so. They eat most often in the coolness of night. Regrettably, so do lions. This mother hippo left her youngster in the care of other females in the nursery and has ventured out alone. And to lions, a lone hippo is an opportunity. But when facing the risk of being bitten by a pair of enormous hippo jaws, it's a gamble. The only option a lion has to take down a fully grown hippo like this mother is by clawing, scratching, and biting, inflicting enough cuts so that she will eventually die through loss of blood. She's escaped.
In reality, the short grass plains of the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania are, for 9 months of the year, areas of peace and quiet. The more ambitious carnivores have little to hunt, but manage to survive and bring up young during the long dry season. Cheetahs here have powerful competition. She targets antelopes like Thompson's gazelles. The killing is the easier part of the process. Keeping your prized trophy is the hard part. She doesn't have the might to oust a hungry hyena, but she can give him a few scars for his trouble. It's imperative to keep the cubs at a distance. Her offspring know to stay well away.
The tagged hammerhead begins its search, scanning the sea floor for any signs of life. The stingray may be hidden beneath the sand, but it cannot hide from the incredible hunting senses of the great hammerhead shark. The shark waits for each sense to be triggered: hearing, smell, sight, electroreception, and touch. The stingray has no other option but to bolt from cover. The shark uses its hammer to pin the ray down to the seafloor and tries to get a good bite. But the ray fights back. Finally, the hammerhead locks onto the wing to immobilize its prey. But with blood in the water, a large bull shark is also on the hunt. The hammerhead returns to finish off its meal.
The design is less sleek than your typical multi-tool, but the spiny anteater or echidna has an array of gadgets for defense or dinner. She follows a nose that's an electro-detector. Mucus glands at the end of her snout sense the tiny electric signals emitted by insects. Prey located, she whips out her 7-inch slimy tongue, perfect to navigate convoluted ant tunnels. Her chisel-shaped nose is also an efficient crowbar to expose more succulent grubs and worms. Don't let this waddling pincushion fool you. Thousands of needle spikes are effective defensive weapons in her arsenal. This time, her nose detects more than just ants. Not that it stops her. She won't attack the lizards, but the reptile family feels safer giving those prickles a wide berth. Her spikes become more dangerous when she activates them. Even Australia's top predator, the dingo, can do nothing to damage this oddball. She contracts a layer of muscle beneath her skin to roll up and force her spines erect. These efficient pack hunters, capable of pulling down a buffalo, withdraw in frustration with this thorny customer. But the spiny anteater's greatest defense mechanism is her ability to breathe through fire. Furious bushfires regularly sweep across Australia, killing anything in their wake. Unable to outrun the blaze, the spiny anteater digs herself out of danger. She remains underground till the fire burns out. Her secret? She enters a mini hibernation and lowers her metabolism so she can breathe, despite the crazy low oxygen and toxic carbon dioxide levels during a fire.
The samurai scouts bring news that there's an army on its way. They rally the troops. But it's too late. The bamboo battalion is on them. The rock samurais are ambushed at their own entrance. When times are tough, giant killer hornets turn on their own kind. It's like on like. Giant on giant. Claws, stingers, and mandibles. All weapons deployed, and heads will roll. Disabling the enemy is the primary strategy. Beheading and severing limbs, the mandibles are the ultimate weapon of war. It's impossible to determine who's winning until the pillaging starts. The marauding bamboo giants enter the fortress. They've conquered the rock samurais, and they've struck gold. The precious nursery of developing princesses is ransacked. Next year's queens, killed and cannibalized in their chambers. The sentry can do nothing but witness the devastation of her precious family.
Grit's learned a lot, but this is his ultimate test. The snake targets the head, the badger's weak spot. But where another animal might run off to find easier prey, this is a honey badger. Nothing scares him. He keeps on coming. The snake tries to run. But once the honey badger has locked onto its target, it doesn't back down. Once the badger immobilizes the snake's jaws, it's game over.
Black mambas have very few enemies in the wild, but she's about to meet her nemesis. The slender mongoose, a notorious snake killer. They may look like featherweights in the ring, but these are two of the most lethal predators on the planet. The mongoose has razor-sharp teeth and a lightning speed. But one bite from a mamba can kill 15 grown men. So imagine what it can do to a 5-pound mongoose. The mamba is lethal, but she's not tough. She relies on her venom to sedate her victims and immobilize their weapons. Here's the kicker. The mongoose has an antidote to her potion. The toxins in snake venom attach to chemical receptors in their victims and block communications between nerves and muscles. Mongoose receptors have mutated so that venom simply bounces off the muscle cells. He's literally immune to danger. The mongoose MO is to dance circles around his prey until it's exhausted. And then, the kill shot. One swift snap to the back of the head, and the spine is severed. The snake's still alive, but paralyzed. Her muscles twitch, but her bite is gone. For the mongoose, the reward outweighs the risk. A 7-foot snake is a hearty meal for a pint-sized predator.
Squirrel colonies usually work together to fend off predators, but this female has decided to go it alone. She fluffs her tail to appear bigger, distracts the cobra, and shields her body from the snake's strikes. Sharp teeth deliver a quick bite to its tail. The cobra's strike could kill her. Drop for drop, the Cape cobra's venom is thought to be more deadly than that of the black mamba. She's batting out of her league. Her cocky confidence takes a hit as she's struck. But it's just a blade of grass. It's a reality check. She needs to back down. The action has caught the attention of a far meaner neighbor. In seconds, the squirrel's gone from snake killer to scaredy cat. She's bitten off more than she can chew. But lucky for her, this yellow mongoose is the resident cobra hitman. It's game on. Snakes to the mongoose are like peanuts to the squirrel. Guts of steel make him the perfect housemate. But he's not a freeloader. He's the colony's security system, specializing in deadly intruders. The cobra's speedy defense strike is its trump card, the only thing that'll keep him alive. They are each other's prey, but they are also each other's deadliest opponents. The mongoose circles, looking for a weakness in the cobra's defense. A quick strike needs a Matrix-style getaway. It's a battle of speed. The Cobra tries intimidation, but it's not enough. They know that if either turns their back, they're a goner. They size up their weapons and punches fly. The Cobra delivers its winning blow. He's been spared from becoming Mongoose dinner. The Mongoose is immune to a certain quantity of the Cobra's venom, but right now, he's not hungry enough to push those limits.